I don't know about you, but I don't nearly watch as many YouTube videos as I used to. If I look at my homepage, I always see these Mr. Beastified videos, obviously trying to be very engaging, and people do like them, which is why they're there in the first place, but they've always given me the ick. What I do like watching is generally just simple videos, usually of people talking about things with some gameplay in the background. If it's too heavily edited or flashy, it just turns me away. Northern Line is a pretty good example of this, but there are others, like Balatro University. I've been thinking for a while about starting those sorts of videos on Osu, because I have a lot of random things I would like to talk about, but I don't think I can dedicate a serious video to. One huge topic I would like to talk about is leaderboard farming, which I've been pretty obsessed with in the last year. Last month I tried to make a leaderboard farming guide script, but it ended up being extremely long, and I realized it would be better if I split it up into multiple videos. I've scrapped a ton of video ideas because I tried to be too ambitious by starting a script for an insane project, only to end up scrapping it because I wasn't happy. I'm not exactly hugely passionate about video and video creation, but I am very passionate about Osu, and find it very difficult to turn video ideas into actual videos. Maybe some of you also feel this way. Hopefully using this more brain dump style format, I can end up talking about the things I've been meaning to talk about for ages, and will help me get my thoughts out there. So in the last year, I've been getting really into leaderboard farming. Maybe you've seen some tweets or Reddit posts calling the game's leaderboards dead, and yeah, it's quite true. With more and more maps getting ranked every year, despite the player base not really growing in size, it leads to a lot of desolate looking leaderboards, even on the simplest of maps. You'll be really surprised how many 2025 normal diff leaderboards don't even have a full top 50 of 3 mod. You just don't see that on maps 2023 or older. Though this does make it easier to get top 50 on new maps, to the point where I've gotten over 10,000 top 50s in the last year, which is strangely more than anyone. It does feel a bit sad with the lack of competition, but since new leaderboards are more dead, it's easier to get on them, making leaderboard farming more accessible to everyone, even if you're low ranked. Maybe after watching this you'll give leaderboard farming a shot, or at least make it sound more interesting than you thought. I think one of the main problems is people don't really understand the why of leaderboard farming. They really just don't see the purpose of playing maps below your skill level. From what I've seen, most people only get enjoyment from Osu in a few different ways. One is just messing around, hitting cool patterns. Usually that means just playing maps you find really difficult, rather than ones you can FC. Another is trying to challenge yourself, or trying to improve your skill cap, which again means you're playing maps that you find hard. The last one is trying to farm PP. With the combo scaling rework, and how high BPM aim is quite meta right now, there's not much need to try to FC for most people. And even if they do FC, most PP maps are quite popular, where FCing doesn't even guarantee a leaderboard spot if your accuracy is lacking. Most of these points generally have to do with progression. Progressing your skill, progressing your rank, or even progressing outside your normal skill sets to learn something new. You can definitely get these feelings of skill progression while leaderboard farming, which I don't think many people consider. Though it makes sense why leaderboards are so dead. Most maps aren't mechanically challenging enough to players, so there's no need to play them. That, in combination with there being more and more maps to choose from as the game goes on, it gets harder for ranked maps to stand out from the crowd. It seems like you need to be a PP map for you to get any play count. Then why do I play the newly ranked maps? Why do I, as a player with 10,000 PP, have over 10,000 plays on normal and easy diffs? Well, I could simply tell you it's fun and I like it, which really isn't very convincing or interesting. It's what 99% of Osu players would tell you when asked why they do anything. I guess most people aren't very introspective and don't understand themselves very well. Or they do know, but they don't really know how to articulate it. Over the last 8 years, I've played Osu for over 3,600 hours. It doesn't seem like an insane amount, but it's mostly because the game only counts playtime when you're actually playing a map. If it counted AFK time like Steam, I'd easily have like double or triple that. When you've been so deeply invested in a game like me, it's extremely easy for you to feel like you've wasted your life. Like, I could have done so many things in that time and I chose to play Osu. And I don't regret it at all. I'm generally happy with my time I spend on the game and I see myself enjoying the game far in the future. Sadly, many people don't feel that way. I can't get inside their head, but my best guess is that they've realized they spent so much time on a game and they don't even know why. Maybe they just got bored of clicking circles one day and realized their scores that once were everything to them have just become worthless. That fear of becoming one of those people who quit OSU and absolutely hate it afterwards always terrified me, because I'm perfectly content right now. It was honestly a huge part of why I started this YouTube channel. I didn't want to quit and have nothing to show for it. I wanted to have at least something to show or impact people so I could say, hey, I'm pretty passionate about this thing, and here's what I've done with that. I put a stupid amount of work into some of these videos, especially the top scores of 2025 one. Many people love video games, and many people play video games, but not many people have much to show for it, other than their skills. If you're passionate about a game, why not use that passion for something more than just playing? It doesn't have to be making videos either. It could be making guides, it could be planning events, something to look back on after you've long stopped playing OSU and be proud of. It's also good to understand yourself and why you do things, because if you don't, and things suddenly start getting less fun and you don't know why, what's stopping you playing a new video game and the same thing happening again? It's like when I see people F2 spam to find maps to play on OSU. If you actually know what you want, it becomes a lot easier to find what you want. So what are you passionate about? For the hobbies that you sunk a lot of time into, could you explain why you enjoy them further than they're fun or I play with my friends? Like, genuinely think about this. Okay, that was a bit of an insane tangent to the question of why I love leaderboard farming, but it's just to say I have my reasons pretty decently mapped out, and maybe you hearing them would make you understand or even try out my playstyle. So, to start explaining my reasons, I have to explain some problems you kind of run into when playing purely for PP or skill, in a sort of game design sense. First, you lack a sense of direction. There's not much concrete for you to do in OSU other than ranking up, and the main alternative, progressing your overall skill set. It feels like a vibe check more than anything. The main goals people have in this game is with ranking up, say hitting rank 5000 or hitting 10,000 PP, but you can only rank up for so long before it just stops working. Once you hit a hard enough skill plateau, that's usually the point most people quit. Second, your progression can be hard to track. Maybe not for PP farming, but like I said, your rank gains won't last forever. I guess tournament ability can track your overall skills, but there's still skill sets that you wouldn't normally touch if you only play the tournament archetypes of skill sets. Like, where are the old maps? Where's the accuracy ability? Where's flashlight? Third, there's no real reason to go out and discover or play new maps. I've always loved discovering new maps, but I've never had a real reason to set scores on them, so they just sit in my collections. Admired and respected though, but not played. Leaderboard farming is a pretty good way to fix all these points. You can track your leaderboard spots using OSU Stats, an unofficial website that tracks every score you've ever set that's entered the top 100 of any loved or ranked map. There's even leaderboards to track your top 50s or any rank you want, and you can rank up on these by getting more and more scores. Leaderboard farming doesn't mean just number 1 farming, by the way. The other main ways is top 8 farming, since when you look at the leaderboard it shows 8 scores without you needing to scroll. You can also aim for the top 50, which is probably the method you'll take when getting high up on the leaderboard is difficult, or even impossible. With you tracking your scores and seeing your leaderboard count go up day by day, it'll give you a sense of direction on what to push for, and can be easily tracked. Also, since it's forcing you to submit more scores and download more maps, I almost guarantee you'll find some incredible maps along the way. Now there are definitely other playstyles to achieve these 3 goals, which may work for some people, but not as well for me. The most popular one seems to be SS farming. I find it interesting to think of an SS score being not only as a perfect score, but one you never need to come back and fix. With my own scores, I always have at the back of my mind, I could have dropped less AC here or there, but with an SS, it's complete. I did everything. The problem for me, though, is it's very nerve-wracking and slow to pump out scores. Maybe if not for simple maps, but for ones that actually require a decent amount of learning and retrying to SS, it could be almost tedious sometimes that these scores take so incredibly long, despite in 1x100 feeling way more trivial. Part of that is I care a lot about efficiently clearing maps, and you can also see that as a sign of laziness. I don't really care for every score to be the best that it can be, so if I'm not too attached to the map, misses or A ranks don't really faze me. It's a bit of a blessing, I think. Another one is score farming. That can be insanely fun if you're into it, and for one point I really was, gaining about 60 billion ranked score in a month. The main problem I have with that though is score quality. In order to gain the most ranked score you can, you need to FC, and that often means sacrificing mods to make the maps easier. Now, I know I just talked about not really caring about the quality of every score, but I still like them to be decent, and that means adding mods when I can. Leaderboard farming is great in this sense because it gives me a very concrete goal to shoot for. The leaderboard tells me what mods I should generally consider, and unless the map is super dead, I need a decent score to get on there. It gives me a reason to care about the quality of my scores. While SS farming or score farming, I tend to undermod a lot of things, which I really don't like. I still enjoy SS and score farming on a more casual level, but those are generally the reasons I prefer to focus on leaderboard farming rather than those other playstyles. There are definitely other reasons I could talk about, but the script is already like 2,000 words long, and I promised myself these videos would be short and easy to make, so I guess I'll talk about it next time. There's just so much to talk about with leaderboard farming, from efficiency to talking about different players to different play styles. I also sight read a lot with Flashlight, which probably sounds like a really weird playstyle, but it's an incredible playstyle for leaderboard farming, so maybe talking about that will bring some more people to try it. And I really hope if I just make a bunch of these videos, I'll see some more people on the leaderboards. Maybe.